Hi, welcome to Frat Props and Gaming. In this video, I'm just going to use this timber I've cut here, just to see if I can make sort of a rough timber dagger. Now, it's only just going to be sort of just a very basic sort of timber item on there. I will try to finish it to make it look a little bit more realistic, but it's going to be very sort of basic with regards to detail and everything like that. So I'm just going to start off by sort of working out roughly what sort of layout I want on it and just sort of sketching on top with a pencil. Then I'll be trimming it and then sanding it right down till I get all the profiles correct. And then we'll look at finishing. All right. Alright, so that's the very basic shape here. Basic handle here, designed as just a single-handed dagger. Went for a nice wide blade because I wanted to make it look sort of more... I wanted to make it look more threatening than it ever really was going to be. On there, very, very, very basic pommel. On there, haven't really decided what I'm going to do with regards to if I'm going to do a crossbar or anything on this yet. Just leaving just a small amount of timber in case I feel so inclined. Not too sure what I'm going to do with that at all. But next step will be to start cutting it out, cutting it pretty much along the lines, and then bringing it down. Now I did mark a center line along here. I will try to transcribe that as I go, just simply for the sake of a nice center ridge in the blade. It would look good as opposed to a flat top with just beveled sides. If I can sort of keep the sides beveling all the way into this ridge, I think it would look nicer. Definitely add to the sort of like the threatening appearance, even though it's just a wooden knife. I've got the rough shape cut out now. Now it's just going to come down to sanding. Pretty sure I'm just going to leave this like that. Keep it kind of square. As the blade gets sanded down, the thickness dips, it'll be more prominent. Same with the handle. So I like the look of that there. Just going to round the pommel. Probably round it in both directions. Keep the bottom flat, top flat, and just work it from there. So, a lot of sanding to happen because of the thickness of the material, but basically, not too bad. Alright, so that's all the sanding done on this one now. Now, this is just a first attempt at sort of sanding a solid knife out of a solid block. Not the best job, like the blade thickness, I could work on a lot better, but I'm happy with that for now. This is just a test piece, just to see how things would go. Now I'm going to try finishing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint pretty much the handle all the way through. I'm going to try using metallic tape on the blade to see how it looks. And I'm also going to wrap the handle. I'm either going to do that in fabric strips or cord, I haven't decided yet. But I'm going to start just by painting the handle section. Moving on from there. Now I'm just going to do it in a nice dark sort of brown. So I'm just going to do it in burnt umber. Let's just get some out ready. Now I'm expecting this to soak into the timber quite a bit as it goes. Now I'm not trying to get perfect coverage, but I do want some sort of colouring in this. Alright, as you can see, the handle's been painted. I've tried the foil tape on the blade. Not happy with how that's come out. I know I can blend some of the lines and the joins with steel wool. Just don't have any to hand at the moment. Timber just to peel that off at the moment. What I'm going to do now is just wrap the handle, sorry. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a fabric strip. Now, just, you know, like you get towards the end of a roll of fabric, you get sort of random jagged bits and things like this. Keep these, because they come in really handy, especially if it's a good strong fabric that you can pull on. And what we're going to do is use this just to do just a loose wrap around the handle, tie it back onto itself, and we're good to go. Alright, now I'm not sure if you're familiar with doing wrapping on handles and things like that. I prefer to not use glue. I prefer to just let the actual tension of the fabric or the rope or whatever else I'm using here bind itself. So I'm just going to start by letting it go over itself a couple of times. What I'm doing is I'm doubling the fabric up, folding it on itself to try to give it this nice sort of pattern I'm getting in there. Now it doesn't matter if you have a rough frayed edge because we're covering that as we go down. Need to keep it consistent. Can be a little bit tricky, can take a bit of practice. Now, depending on the type of weapon you're doing, if it's for a certain faction, certain race, then you can either be as neat and pedantic as you like, or as rough and rugged as you prefer. You know, it's, you know, like if you're doing like say an ornate, elegant elven sword, then you want it to be precise and neat and, you know, well done. Like the same if you're doing a sword for like a human king and things like that. Whereas if you're doing just say a club for an orc or something like that, then it doesn't matter as much. Now, little trick to doing the handles is when we get to the end, is the tie off is you actually wrap over itself. So normally at this point here, I normally use a piece of cord, normally the same type of fabric, or a bit of ribbon or something like that I've got lying around. I'm just seeing what I've got here at the moment. Alright, I've actually got a foam strip, which should work, I hope. And all I do is I double that up and just keep wrapping over it. Just keep going until I get to the very end. Alright. So this is as far as I'm going to want to go. Now I'm going to want to keep a little bit of excess. So just cut it off. Take the end, you poke it through the loop that we have here. Now my only concern with using this little bit of foam off cut I've got here is it strong enough. So if it's not, and I've got to go back, then all I have to do is undo the last few turns, replace the bit of foam for something a bit stronger, and then go again. Alright, so you do that there. Now, if you pull these ends here, oh yeah, not strong enough. What it should do is pull this end here through underneath these last few rows. So what I'm going to do is just untie that. Just pull that broken bit out. Let's go back a few rows. See what else is lying around here. Alright. Now, what else I've got here is a bit of wire. I wouldn't normally use wire for this. I would just use an offcut of this fabric, or, you know, the same sort of piece of cord if I was using just a cord to wrap the handle with. But because of the thickness of this, I feel that would be too much. Alright, again, get to the end, poke it through the loop, and then pull it through. Alright, so it's taken a bit of fighting, but we've gotten it through. So set the wire out of the road. Now, we made a mess here because we had to pull on it so hard, but that's not a problem, because we can just bring this all back up. And while this isn't the only way you can wrap a handle, this is just the method I like to use. And the reason I like this method is because you don't have to use glue, you don't end up with fasteners, you don't have to sort of nail the ends to start. It's all purely held on by its own pressure, as it would have been. Then you just trim the end off here. And there you go. That's that done. Now, I'm not massively happy with this at all, but as a practice run, just to see what I could do with just a scrap piece of timber, it's not too bad. It'll kind of work out well for like a kid's toy, you know, basic little prop. Just wanted something that you sort of, you know, just could play around with. But yeah, that's just a very, very basic way to do it. Okay, thanks for watching.